set of women's underwear and some unused condoms under there that had been there for a long time. Now you got to see this. I was cleaning out my 1920 garage, built for a Model T, so I can get my 1929 Mercedes in to work on it. Now it's got a wooden floor, as you can see. That's pretty much original equipment there. But some boards sticking up there. I don't know if you can tell. This whole thing just kind of collapsed and just fell down. And then I'm walking across it surveying the damage, and I stepped on this board. Boop. Look at that. Right here. Just crushed. So I have no idea what's under this floor. I gotta get that toolbox and that jack and that oxygen bottle and the air compressor and a few of this other stuff out of here. And I can lift up all these floorboards, see what's under there, see what's the root of the problem, and fix it. So I can get my car in here. Because I got work to do. I got to get that car going. Well, that was a quick and easy take-up. Took me like 5 minutes to tear all this out on my own. You can see this board here is dipping. This one used to be a board right here. You can see just little bits of it left in there where it comes back right down there. Hard to see, it's not real bright back here. And that side's starting to go. Pretty well into it. Looks like this garage floor is a total loss. Got to figure out what to do. With funding the way it is, it's probably going to be rake it smooth and put a load of crushed rock on it and work with it, because I don't have money for cement and I don't have money to rebuild all this wood floor. Because I mean, look at those beams, man. Those are real 2x whatevers. They're probably 2x8s, but they're rough cut way back out of Douglas fir back in the 20s they were built. All right, yeah, that's the end of a long afternoon. Finished the demo, got all the rest of the floor out, and put all the floor joists down. Now before, when they built this place, they had one beam there, they had one beam there, and they had one right down the middle. And that lasted for almost 100 years. And they weren't treated. Now this time I've got 4 treated beams, and I'm going to put 2x4 planks on top of them like before. Should last another 100 years. I know I won't be around to see it, but it'll last my lifetime for a fact. Anyway, that's where we're at. Tomorrow it gets planks. All right, look at that. All done. All new decking. Finished. I can get my hot rod in here. I can work on it. I mean, nice steady floor. Oh, I love it. Well, it's nice when a plan comes together, especially when, for the price of, I priced the wood just to do the deck out here. It was $250. Well, for $256, including tax and everything, I got not only all that wood, but I still have all this wood out here. I mean, this is a lot of lumber. And after looking at it and counting everything, I have enough lumber here to replace every floor joist in my house, which needs to be done. Because all the floor joists in my house are 2x6s, and it's like walking on a trampoline. So I will just sister these next to all the other ones and put some in as new like I need, and you know what? My house will be good as new. I love it. No extra cost. $256. for everything. Oh, I love it. Gotta love it when a plan comes together. Now to put this whole thing back together, put all my tools back in, get my car in here, and get to work. And there's been a fair amount of interest in a few people who wanted to know what kind of wonderful things I found underneath the floor while I was digging this up. It's because, you know, it's a 100-year-old house. It's like an archaeological dig. And so you never know what you're going to find when you get underneath a floor, a wooden floor that's been there for 100 years. Because things, you know, kind of slip down through the cracks. Well, I found a couple of disturbing things, but I have a pretty good explanation. I'm pretty sure how they got there. And I'm not going to show them. I've already burned them because, you know, it's just kind of gross. I found a set of women's underwear and some unused condoms under there that had been there for a long time. You know, this is a family show, so I'm not going to go too much more into that, but I betcha I know how they got there. I have a feeling there was a teenage boy that lived in this house, and, you know, he borrowed the prophylactics from his parents, and then went and borrowed some underwear off of the neighbor's clothesline, and then bragged about stuff he didn't really do. I'm pretty sure that's how that got there, because it was stashed in a way that a teenage boy would stash something. And anyway, it was gross, so I burned it. So anyway, now on to the really interesting stuff. All right, so the first thing we have is the obligatory golf ball that's been hit by something. Looked like somebody tried to saw into it. Didn't do any good. Then there's this can of paint stripper. An old can. It's not worth saving. I wish it was. Then we found a kickstand to an old motorcycle. That's interesting. Probably a dirt bike from the look of it. Also, this is probably the oldest thing I found. This is appears to be part of a horse harness. Because, you know, even back in the day of, you know, the 20s, people still used horses. And then I found this little broken cup, pottery thing. That's kind of cute. An old piece of railroad track that's corroded beyond repair. And for some reason, a P-trap for a sink, for a bathroom sink. It's no good. There's, you know, parts are broken on it and stuff. I don't know why it was still there. And now you might remember, this is interesting, you might remember back when in the 60s and maybe the early 70s, they had these molds that you could get. And you'd heat up in this little oven, the plastic, and you'd pour it in there. You had these little rubber toys that you could make. Well, these are the molds for those. I have a couple of those. You can tell they're from the 60s. Look at the shapes. Okay, that was what was popular back then. Then I found this old soda bottle. Not sure what kind of soda, obviously. And an old beer bottle. That's kind of cool. An old Pepsi can. How many of you remember that? And look at the opening on the Pepsi can there. That you haven't seen those kind of pull tabs in a while, huh? Remember we used to pull those off and make chains out of them? That was cool. Then we got the cheesy 1970s butterfly art thing. That was under there. A broken off kitchen knife. And this is cool. Remember these? These are a little electric clocks with radioactive glow-in-the-dark fingers. Well, I plugged it in. It doesn't work. But it would have been cool if it did. But the inside seemed to be completely corroded shut. And probably the coolest thing for me that I found was I found two of these. Now, some of you know what these are, some of you don't. But in the old days, there was the way they did telephone poles is they would have these wooden posts with threads on them, and these would screw down onto them, and they'd hook the wires to these. It was the insulators to keep from catching the phone poles on fire because of, short circuits and stuff. So these are power line insulators. And they're kind of cool. And I have two of them. Matching set. Look at that. That's pretty neat. And then there's one more thing I found in the attic. See that? a wooden ironing board. Is that cool or what? And one of the cool features that shows how old this one is this little folding metal platform on the back here. This is for your iron that you'd stick on the wood stove, and you could set it on this so you wouldn't burn your pad. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, that's the booty of the project. Hope you enjoyed. I know I did. This is a fun little project. Now I get to put my car in and fix my car.